Hello, everybody. President Trump signed a host of immigration-related executive orders, which are going to profoundly impact the landscape of immigration law moving forward. Now, among the various executive orders, one that has piqued the most interest is the limitations that have been announced towards birthright citizenship. The executive order was signed on the very first day of President Trump's presidency, day one. And the title of the executive order is called Protecting the Meaning and Value of American Citizenship. And again, it's all about targeting birthright citizenship. And by birthright citizenship, I mean this general concept and this general notion that when you're born in the United States, you are a US citizen. Now, again, this executive order seeks to curtail or reduce the instances by which someone can obtain citizenship solely based on being born in the United States. We're going to go all into it. I'm going to actually read from this quite a bit. So bear with me. I'm going to read through it and I'm going to explain as I go along. And I'm going to give you some of my impressions. And I hope you get a lot of value here. So let's jump right in. Again, the executive order is titled Protecting the Meaning and Value of American Citizenship. And it starts off here by identifying the purpose of this executive. Hi, everybody. We originally recorded this video on Wednesday, January 22nd. The very next day, on Thursday, January 23rd, a federal judge officially blocked this executive order from going into effect. As you'll hear later in this video, the executive order was set to take effect beginning February 19th. And as we've known all along, this executive order was going to face tremendous legal challenges. 22 states filed lawsuits to prevent the executive order from going into effect. And as part of one of those cases, a federal judge has temporarily blocked the executive order from going into effect. So enjoy the rest of the video, but I just wanted to provide you with this quick update, as this was an update that took effect after we originally recorded this video on Wednesday. Thank you so much. This executive order, and it says, the privilege of United States citizenship is a priceless and profound gift. The 14th Amendment states all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. That provision rightly repudiated the Supreme Court of the United States' shameful decision in Dred Scott v. Sanford, which misinterpreted the Constitution as permanently excluding people of African descent from eligibility for United States citizenship solely based on their race. But the 14th Amendment has never been interpreted to extend citizenship universally to everyone born within the United States. The 14th Amendment has always excluded from birthright citizenship persons who were born in the United States but not subject to the jurisdiction thereof. Consistent with this understanding, the Congress has further specified through legislation that a person born in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof is a national and citizen of the United States at birth, generally mirroring the 14th Amendment's text. Now it goes on. Among the categories of individuals born in the United States and not subject to the jurisdiction thereof, the privilege of United States citizenship does not automatically extend to persons born in the United States. Now it goes on to specify the criteria by which somebody may be born in the United States but still not be conferred the benefit of US citizenship. So this is what it's now going on to identify. And it goes, instance number one, it says, when that person's mother was unlawfully present in the United States and the father was not a United States citizen or lawful permanent resident at the time of said person's birth. Now, the first category of persons that are being excluded from this privilege of birthright citizenship pursuant to this executive order is people whose mother was not lawfully present in the United States and their father was not a United States citizen or lawful permanent resident. So that's category number one of people that, pursuant to this executive order, would not be eligible for birthright citizenship. Now, category number two, it says, or two, when that person's mother's presence in the United States at the time of said person's birth was lawful but temporary, such as, but not limited to, visiting the United States under the auspices of the visa waiver program or visiting on a student, work, or tourist visa. And the father was not a United States citizen or lawful permanent resident at the time of said person's birth. Okay, so again, we're covering here two classifications of people that, pursuant to this executive order, are being targeted as being ineligible for birthright citizenship. The first classification of people is when they were born in the United States, but their mother was in the United States unlawfully, and their father was neither a US citizen or lawful permanent resident, green card holder. That's situation number one, where this person, pursuant to this executive order, would be ineligible for birthright citizenship. And the second category of people that are excluded extends even further, where the mother is in the United States lawfully, but they are in the United States lawfully on some sort of a temporary status, like a visa waiver program or a visitor visa or a student visa. And the father in this context is also not a US citizen and not a lawful permanent resident. So those are the two categories of people that are being targeted here by this executive order. Now, it goes on to say, it is the policy of the United States that no department or agency of the United States government shall issue documents recognizing United States citizenship or accept documents issued by state, local, or other governments or authorities purporting to recognize United States citizenship to persons. Again, it goes one, when that person's mother was unlawfully present in the United States and the person's father was not a United States citizen or lawful permanent resident at the time of said person's birth. Or instance two, when that person's mother's presence in the United States was lawful but temporary, and the person's father was not a United States citizen or lawful permanent resident at the time of said person's birth. So again, it's issuing an order that the United States should not issue documents recognizing United States citizenship for these people. And again, by these people, we mean people that are born in the United States and their mother is either here unlawfully or their mother is here at the time of the birth of that person, but they're here on some sort of a temporary status, like a visa waiver program or a visitor visa or a student visa. And again, the second part to this is that the father cannot be a US citizen or lawful permanent resident. So if the father is a lawful permanent resident, a green card holder, or a US citizen, then this executive order presumably does not apply to them, that they would still be eligible for birthright citizenship. Or if the mother is a lawful permanent resident or a US citizen, of course, this provision would not be applicable to them. This executive order would not apply to them and they could still benefit from birthright citizenship. Now, the million-dollar question that many people have right now is, when does this take effect? Pursuant to the executive order, it goes on to say, subsection A of this section shall apply only to persons who are born within the United States after 30 days from the date of this order. So after 30 days from the date of this order was signed on January 20th, 2025. So after 30 days from the date that this order was signed, that's when it is set to go into effect. So hopefully at this point, we're clear about who this executive order is targeting, what types of people, again, if they are born in the United States, and the mother is either here unlawfully or the mother is here in the United States lawfully, but under some sort of a temporary visa, like a visa waiver program or visitor visa or student visa, and the father is neither a US citizen or lawful permanent resident. Under previous standards, these individuals that were born in the United States, even to parents that are both undocumented, were being conferred United States citizenship. And now this is what this executive order is targeting. If the mother was here unlawfully, or even if the mother was here lawfully, but on some sort of a temporary visa, and the father was not a US citizen or a lawful permanent resident, pursuant to this executive order, they would no longer be eligible for US citizenship. Now, what has happened in just 2 days, actually less than that, almost immediately after this executive order was signed, 22 states filed lawsuits to prevent this executive order from going into effect. So as I've mentioned in a previous video, this executive order is going to face tremendous backlash, legal backlash, and it has already begun to face tremendous legal backlash. So what's likely to happen is that this is likely going to make its way up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court is essentially likely going to have to interpret the 14th Amendment and what it means. And again, just going back to the reading of the 14th Amendment, it says all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. Now, one of the key points of this understanding of the 14th Amendment goes to this line where it says, and subject to the jurisdiction thereof. Those in favor of birthright citizenship for all persons born in the United States are going to argue that this applies to anybody born in the United States, that the 14th Amendment essentially is to be broadly construed to apply to anybody that's born in the United States And those that are opposed to birthright citizenship are likely to interpret this segment of the 14th Amendment that says, and subject to the jurisdiction thereof, to mean that those that are born to parents that are undocumented are not subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. So this is, for example, one instance of some potential room for ongoing constitutional argument and constitutional debate. So, like I said, many states have already filed lawsuits to prevent this executive order from going through. And it seems that in short order, we're going to essentially see what comes of this executive order, whether it will go into effect, whether it will be prevented from going into effect, whether there will be an injunction preventing this executive order from going into effect. And again, we're going to be closely monitoring because this, of course, has major immigration implications. And not only that, but there is tremendous interest in this particular executive order. There have been a host of executive orders signed that have major immigration implications. But this one, this executive order targeting birthright citizenship, I think has been on the forefront of the media cycle. People, for good reason, have tremendous interest in this executive order, and we're going to be closely monitoring to see what becomes of it. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. I hope you found some value here. Just to add on, in the event that this executive order is struck down and the president seeks to find a method that or perhaps a constitutional amendment could be passed to limit birthright citizenship, I think that that would face tremendous hurdles based on the need for a 2/3 majority to pass in both the House and the Senate, which is a very, very high standard to meet. And so I think that any sort of a bill to curtail birthright citizenship would face a major uphill battle to pass in both the House and the Senate. And yeah, we're going to closely monitor. Again, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you on the next video.